Yo, Panther Nation, Pantherologists. Welcome back to yet another edition of Pantherology. As always, it's your boy Clay, and I'm coming at you with the Carolina Panthers Week 3 report card. I know I've been bad about posting. The last time I posted was probably like last Friday, but not much has been going on besides that trade with CJ Henderson. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. Me talking about it, just kind of giving you a little bit of good and bad about the trade and kind of what I thought about it, giving you just my opinion. Before we get into today's topic, as always, pound that thumbs up button, pound that subscribe button. That's good enough for me. You watching this video is good enough for me. If you feel the need, comment down below. Love to hear your thoughts. And always click that post notifications bell so then you don't miss out on any new videos. Gonna try to get back on a consistent basis. Just kind of been off week. Every time the Thursday primetime games come around, it kind of throws me off a little bit. But other than that, been busy. Go check the link down in the description. Go check the Newsbreak app out. It helps me out a lot. So other than that, let's go ahead and dive into today's video. Now, it came at a cost, but the Panthers won their third consecutive game this past Thursday, although on the road in front of a national audience. Now, here's how I think the Carolina Panthers performed in their win over those Houston Texans. And we're going to start with the passing offense, as always that I do. Now, after standout running back Christian McCaffrey left the game early in the second quarter with a hamstring injury, the Panthers were forced to rely on Sam Darnold for the final three quarters. And the 24-year-old quarterback stepped up to the plate. I mean, he completed 23 of 34 throws for 304 yards. He had no interceptions. Not only that, but he looked to play with some composure and authority that he lacked with the New York Jets, a characteristic that was especially evident after halftime when the offense emerged from its McCaffrey-less funk, if that makes sense. Now, the Panthers gained 17 total offensive yards in the final 12 minutes of the first half after McCaffrey left the game and did not return, as we all know. This squad, and on the other hand, adjusted and responded, I think, magnificently, to be honest, in the second half. Beginning the second half by crushing 3 consecutive time-consuming scoring drives. That sequence, engineered in large part by Darnold, gave the Panthers a commanding lead in the game that they would not lose. And Darnold began by feeding DJ Moore, then spreading the ball around to the rest of his wide receiver corps. Moore finished with 8 catches on 12 targets for 126 yards. Rookie Terrace Marshall added on 4 catches on 5 targets for 48 yards. And then Chuba Hubbard added 3 catches on 5 targets for 27 yards. Now, Darnold was also assisted by solid offensive line that, although allowed 3 sacks, performed admirably, I think, against the Texans, especially after they increased the pressure without McCaffrey in the backfield. So, through the 3 games of the 2021 season so far, Darnold has proven to be the most significant and effective investment made by general manager Scott Fitterer and head coach Matt Rule during the pair's early time in Carolina. In his time with the Panthers, the quarterback has over 905 yards and 6 touchdowns. So overall, I gave this passing offense a grade of an A. So now let's dive into the rushing offense. Now, this section could also be dedicated to Darnold if we want to, but I'm sort of kidding here. Carolina's rushing attack began strong, but was undeniably subdued after McCaffrey's aforementioned exit, as evidenced by the Panthers' decision to run the ball on 4th and 1 inside the Texans' 10-yard line early in the first half. but to no great extent. Now, despite this, the Panthers maintained a balanced attack, throwing 34 times and running 32 times. Now, Darnold had 8 of those carries, resulting in 11 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, Chuba Hubbard took over for McCaffrey and had 10 carries for 46 yards, while Royce Freeman had 5 carries for 17 yards. So, all 3 of the Panthers' touchdowns came from the ground. So before leaving the game, though, McCaffrey was very productive. The running back had 9 touches. He had 40 yards, a pace that would have allowed him to probably continue his borderline concerning workload. Now, coming into Thursday night's game, McCaffrey already had 59 touches in 2 games. Overall, though, I gave this grade of a B-. Now let's talk about the red zone offense. And this is one of the most interesting to me because we always talk about the red zone and them not practicing and all that. But besides the early turnovers on downs, the Panthers scored every other time they entered the red zone. This including their 3 17-point scores in 4 possessions in the second half. So overall, I gave this grade a B+. Now, let's dive into the defensive side, and we're going to start with the passing defense. Now, as we all know, Zach Wilson's NFL debut was made hell by the Panthers. They made Jameis Winston, one of the league's most streaky passers, appear indecisive and powerless. So, they had another go at the opposing quarterback on Thursday. And Texans quarterback Davis Mills, who took over after starting quarterback Tyrod Taylor was ruled out with an injury last week, played admirably but was no match for one of the league's most aggressive defensive fronts. He only had 168 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Now, Thursday's sacks came from defensive end Morgan Fox. He had a half a sack. Defensive end Brian Burns, he had 1. Linebacker / defensive end Hassan Reddick, he had 1.5 sacks. And then linebacker Frankie Louvu had 1 sack. So, however, the victory came at a huge cost in terms of injuries. Particular one in the Panther secondary, Justin Burris, a defensive back, hopped gingerly off the field, and then J.C. Horn, our 2021 first-round draft pick, had to be helped off the field in the second half. But overall, even though with the injuries, I gave this grade an A. Now, let's get into the rushing defense. Now, on Thursday, the defensive line appeared to be impenetrable. Once again, the Texans' longest rushing play from scrimmage was only 7 yards, and the unit only allowed overall 42 yards on the ground. So the Panthers have only allowed 135 rushing yards in 3 games, which is an average of 45 yards per game. So overall, I'm giving this an A as well. Now, let's get into the red zone defense. Another interesting one. I love talking about the red zone stuff. Now, the Panthers only allowed 1 red zone possession, which resulted in 1 yard Texans touchdown pass. But the fact that they only allowed 1 trip says it all. So overall, I'm giving this a grade an A as well. Now let's get into the special teams, which is something we've been dealing with since this offseason. Carolina special teams didn't play much on Thursday, which is a good thing given the Panthers' recent kicking troubles. And in the fourth quarter, Zane Gonzalez scored a crucial but expected 21-yard field goal to increase the game score to 17-6. So I'm going to give this grade a B+. Now let's get into the coaching category here. Now, on first glance, Rule and the coaching staff look to be calling a solid game, in my opinion. That means they were correctly daring early in the game, opting for a touchdown on a 4th and 1 in the red zone early in the second quarter, and adequately safe later in the game when confronted with a similar situation. It's also worth praising that this coaching staff and the players for their halftime changes following the McCaffrey injury. Depending on how the rest of these injury scenarios played out, they'll have their hands full next week. But overall, for the week 3 grade of the coaching staff, I gave them an A. So guys, that is your week 3 report card. 2 in 1 day. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, y'all know what to do. Keep pounding.